this basketball star, Nancy Lieberman, comes into your life.
Yep.
And really takes your training regimen to new levels. Tell me about that.
It was that we started sometime in the spring, and she came to Europe with me, and I lost semifinals, I think, at the French, and 3 tournaments in a row on grass. I lost to Chris in the semifinals. This is '81, and she said, "How much longer are you gonna play tennis?" I'm like, "Oh, till I'm about 30." She said, "Okay, you got 4 more years. What are you doing now?" I said, "What are you talking about?" She says, "You're wasting your talent. You're not working hard enough." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Well, basketball training is much more tough than anything that we were doing on a tennis court. And so I started running suicides with Nancy on the basketball court and playing basketball. We started running track, lifting weights that summer. And I started really finally getting in shape. And then during the US Open that summer, Dr. Renee Richards started helping me completely by accident. I was playing a match and I didn't have anybody to hit with. Renee was there. I was like, "Renee, can you hit with me?" So she does. And then she started saying a little bit about my technique. And I got to the finals of the Open, but after that I said, "Renee, would you be my coach? Because I don't have a coach, and maybe you could help me." Maybe you could help me. And she took me up, and that's when really I started dominating the sport, because I had a coach and I was training hard, and so I had all the bases covered, and really started understanding the sport.
For someone like Nancy Lieberman or Renee, was your relationship, your closeness with Chris Evert seen as a detriment?
Oh, yeah. First off, it's different for everybody. Some people play better when there is an adversarial feeling to it, when they really don't like the other person, they play better. Some people play worse. I play better when I play against friends than against people I don't like. Thankfully, there weren't that many people that I really didn't like on the tour. They were all pretty nice, so I didn't have an issue, but I played much better against people that I liked. But Nancy brought another aspect to it. There's a net between us, but there is a direct conflict, obviously, because, you know, they hit the ball and I hit it back. So there is that one-on-one situation. And Nancy, being a basketball player, team sport, you're nice to your teammates, but you're never nice to your opponents. And you know, there's a lot of trash talking in basketball. There's no such thing in tennis. She didn't want me to trash talk, but she would trash talk Chris, without Chris knowing about it.
Right.
And said, you gotta hate your opponent. You can't be nice.
Even if it's fake hate? I mean, how could you hate Chris?
It was something she made me realize she has something that I want. So you gotta stop being nice. Doesn't mean that I'm gonna be nasty. Doesn't mean I'm gonna cheat. But I need to get that killer instinct.
1982, such a good year for you. I mean, you go 90-3. You win the French. And this is kind of the start of what we've been building toward, I think, since you sat down in that chair. But, I mean, everything lined up for you at that point. You have a coach, you have fitness, you have drive, you have purpose, and now we're seeing you at your best.
She's going to win it just like that. Martina, a true champion. She fell apart and came back.
A tough test from Chris Evert Lloyd, but hail to the champion, Martina Navratilova.
Wow.
I worked so hard in training. I mean, my typical day would be playing tennis from 10 to 2, 4 hours, then maybe an hour break. And then we would go either to the track or play basketball, full court, 2-on-2, for like an hour and a half. And then I would lift weights. That was my day. I worked hard. I worked my ass off, and I knew nobody else was doing it.
That's what I was going to ask you. This is revolutionary because you bring this power game into women's tennis that didn't exist before this.
I mean, I was strong, but I'm 5'8". I'm not overwhelming physically, but I worked hard, and you know, in the gym I lifted heavy weights, and it wasn't to get necessarily stronger, but it was to be able to hit the ball just as hard at the end of the match as you do at the beginning of the match.
I mean,